Well, thank you everyone for joining us for our end of year webinar for CTE Teach. There we go. Thank you very much. So James, next slide. Obviously our theme this year, school's out for summer. And all four of us are with you on the call. Myself, our project administrator, Melissa Dix. James is moderating the chat. You'll see that on the next slide. And Megan Guillermo, our administrative assistant, is also along. James, next slide. So we've got you muted right now. If you do need to chat, please use the chat feature. James and Megan, James mostly, will be moderating that. And the environment, being mindful of your surroundings. If you've got the camera on, we appreciate seeing you and your face. James, next slide. And we will make these slides available to you at the end of the webinar. But first, right now, we want to know from you, when is your last workday? And have you got any plans for the summer? And you can just put it, you can just put that in the chat. True, Alex is in a district office, so he's working through the summer. Our teachers will start checking out on June 3rd, so a week from the holiday, and then check out for about a week. A couple of you talking about summer school. I hope there are some breaks in there. Before summer school, after summer school. I hope there is rest and relaxation there. And you can still keep putting things in the chat. When is your last work day? And any plans for summer? Maria, 12-month employee. Yes, I understand. And I'm fine with it. I'm good with it. Of course, people have been asking this week, what are your plans for summer? And I'm like, working? Yeah. James, take us to the next slide. So want to share something with y'all, a little moment of laughter. It's from Gabe Dannenberg. He's a middle school teacher in South Dakota who has found quite a bit of success in social media, TikTok, Instagram, and just shares some unique perspectives on teaching. James, go ahead.
So here's how different teachers act in the last month of the school year. We're gonna watch a movie today. It's about economics. The movie's about economics and investing. It's called Wolf of Wall Street. So yeah, we're gonna turn it on and just sit back and enjoy the show. Hey, Bobby, if you guys are gonna be getting in trouble, don't do it in my classroom. Do it in a different classroom. I don't wanna do the paperwork. Or at least be sneaky about it. Come on. You guys watching movies and having fun in your other classes? Well, guess what? We're not doing that in here. We are 17 and a half months behind. We're gonna do an assignment today, 2 through 150 even. So I understand you guys are checked out, you're done. So here's what we're gonna do. Our final project is going to be a food project. You are all gonna make me the best Mexican food that you can. I'm gonna taste test it and I'll give you a grade based off of that.
I've got to admit, I did use the don't do it in the class because there's too much paperwork. I'm not sure anyone was really listening to me. Yeah, we're not playing Wolf of Wall Street in any classroom. So today we're going to talk about last days of school, some pointers for students, pointers for teachers, pointers for mentors and or administrators who have mentees below them. So everyone can find information about that. But then we're going to fast forward a little bit and talk about boot camp, back to school boot camp, and bringing teachers back and what we can do to make it more successful for teachers and students as well. So, you know, if you haven't already planned, end the year strong, stronger than maybe you even started it. And there's opportunities for students. There's opportunities for personal reflection on their part, but there's also opportunities to keep them engaged through the rest of the school year. So you'll see on the slide a little bit of opportunity in the first big bullet there, year-end reflection for students. Take that opportunity to, they can reflect, they can share, they can document. What feelings do they have about the end of the school year, what they've done in class, and obviously recognize and celebrate student achievements. The personal reflection, they can tell you about what was their most positive memory from last semester, from this semester. What was their favorite assignment? They can tell you their favorite assignment, so maybe you can utilize that next year. What are they looking forward to most this summer? So it's kind of on everyone's mind and a good way to share. But keeping students engaged, incorporate brain breaks. It doesn't have to be number 2 through 150 because we're 17 and a half months behind. You can't cram it all into the last week. James, next slide. So there'll be multiple slides here today, like you see on this one, and the red, underlined red, links to the article that these ideas are from. And there'll be a few slides like that right here, right now. But last days of school for teachers, opportunity to incorporate hands-on activities, keep everyone busy, celebrate achievements again. I know that was on the last slide, as were the brain breaks and the guest speaker and the virtual field trip. So you'll see consistency through here, but definitely maintain the consistent routines and expectations. Are they signing in? Keep doing that. Are they turning in things at a certain place? Keep doing that. James, next slide. So I wanted to share something with you. At the end of the day, people won't remember what you said or did. They will remember how you made them feel. And that's from Maya Angelou. But a little story to demonstrate that. So to follow along with me, tomorrow is our last day of school. And during the week, I've been doing little goodbye exercises with each of my students that I don't think is particularly innovative, but was a nice way to end the year. Note, depending on your period and bell schedule, many students may not show up for the last day of school. After students completed their final, I began to call up each student. I started a 30-second conversation with each by saying, "It's been a pleasure having you in class this year." I then shared a specific quality or action that I appreciated and admired. "I appreciate your willingness to help other students who are having trouble with their assignments. I was impressed by how you stuck with completing that essay, even though it was frustrating." And then ended with a handshake. The exercise created a buzz in the room as students began sharing what I was doing and what I had shared with them. Spending 15 minutes of each class in these brief conversations based on student reactions is time well spent. So how is that going to make your students feel if you have that one-on-one opportunity with them, have a meaningful end with them? So not something I wrote. This is from Larry Ferzalo. He has a very active vlog online. There's a link to it there. You'll have a second link to it later on in the slideshow, but just ideas for end of the year and beginning of the year and all other types of things. James, next slide. Teachers, especially new teachers, busy time of year, the end of year. What's all the extra paperwork? What's all the extra assignments? Why is it busier for you at the end of the year than sometimes it is for your students? I know I felt that. And what could I do to utilize my students to help me with that? So awesome time of year for teachers to reflect. What do you want to do differently next year? Take some time for that self-reflection. But skip down to number 4. There's those grades to finalize, entering the grades. And then I don't know if it's as challenging for others as it was for me on my site, but we had a teacher checkout, and I had to check out with people on the school site that I hadn't seen all year. I had to check out with the library, even though I had no books out. I had to check out with business office, even though I had no business going on with the business office. It can be overwhelming for a new teacher. So make sure teachers know about that. Mentors, make sure you share that with them. Organize classroom and materials. Students can help with this. Students like to help with this. So think about what they can be doing to help you with that same thing. Are you, or do you know anyone who is shutting down a classroom because they're moving to another classroom? They have to put things away because floors are being waxed or carpet replaced or furniture changed this year. So the more organizing you can do at this end of the school year, the more helpful it will be in just a couple of months when you're starting the classroom, or if you're moving schools. Again, reflecting on your teaching strategies, what worked well, you can get feedback from your students. What did they like? What did they particularly thrive from? So what What can you do to reinvent for next year? And there's that say a purposeful goodbye to students. Number 9, explore development opportunities, professional development. Is your school site doing something for teachers this summer? Is your district? Look into those if you can. Is there time to collaborate with other teachers? Kind of number 10, I wish it was number 1, but relax and recharge. Step away from the computer, step away from the phone, step away from the screens for a moment. Give yourself that moment to breathe and reflect and think about ideas for the new year. Again, same thing at the top of this slide. The red underline is a link to this article that these tips come from. Thank you. So, mentors, and administrators, if you've got new teachers, how can you help them with the end of the school year? So have a formal closeout conversation with teachers you've been mentoring. Make sure that there's a formal closeout. But what does the teacher think they did well this year? What can they work on for next year? Create an action plan. I like this next one. Clear the path. Remove as many barriers as possible so that an action or change is most likely to happen. What change can you help make happen? Listen, see if there's something that you can dig in to help them with. But also use that opportunity for this, get some feedback. Get some feedback from your mentees, from your new teachers on what did they appreciate about your support? What did they want more of? What did they want less of? How could you be an aid to them? So I know it's a busy time of year, but if you can have that meaningful conversation and exchange ideas, it's going to set each other up for more success. On the last slide, Lisa was putting in the chat, I just finished a puppetry playwriting unit and asked each student to tell me the most challenging aspect and the most fun part. Then asked them to tell me what I should change and what I should keep for the unit. Yeah, it's good to reach out for that feedback. I would like to throw it to a guest member of the band today. I asked Maria Tejeda from San Gabriel Valley ROP to join us. She is a teacher on special assignment and a CTE mentor for San Gabriel Valley ROP and just finished up an in-person end-of-year professional development. Maria, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, David. I appreciate that. You'll get a backstage pass next time you come to my concert, I promise. So we did this a week ago today, and it was to wrap up our New Teacher Institute that we do monthly. We do it by Zoom, except for the first training, which is our new teacher induction, which is brand new teachers coming in, and then we bring in the other teachers. But then at the very end, we like to have that one meeting that we bring all our teachers together. So we start with our introductions. We did have a baseball theme this year. The opening activity was small whiteboards, and I wanted to hear what their walk-up song, teacher song was. That was a lot of fun, and I think some of them were Welcome to the Jungle, Poor Unfortunate Souls by Disney. So it was fun. It kind of broke the ice a little bit, got us laughing. Then we went into the agenda and surviving through thriving. This was something that I kind of took, it spun off of the data that CTE Teach had collected for us. And what hit home for me was the retention piece. And I figured, okay, there's some things I can't control, and it would be, teachers leaving maybe to move closer to home or for more money or whatever the situation would be. But the controllables are what can I do to best support my teachers so they never feel like I never was supported. So moving from surviving to thriving, we kind of did like, you'll see at the top picture there over to the right. I hope it's on your right. It's on my right. And we did these baseball emojis, and they had a word over it. Some of them were surprised. Another one was terror. So what made you feel terror about teaching your first and second year? Or what made you surprised your first, second year? Multiple things like that. And that really gave me a a great insight into what they were feeling. What was most impactful is when I left the room. I felt like if I stay in the room, they might feel a little awkward, you know, writing things down and putting them and thinking, oh, Maria's going to come and see what my post-it said. So I just walked out and I told them, please just throw everything my way. Just throw me all the curveballs you can think of. Just put it out there. I need to know what you are feeling and what you experience teaching. As a CTE mentor, I haven't been in the classroom since pre-COVID. So these kids that we're dealing with now and our teachers are having to deal with are really, really struggling in some areas. So I really needed really honest feedback and it was great. So that's what I plan to take back and just kind of use that as what's going to drive my training for next year. Then we went through the 23-24 tech up process. That's going to be in just a couple of weeks here. Teachers are going to start coming in. Second year teachers, they've already seen it once. They did it last year, but our brand new teachers kind of wanted to front load them what they would be expecting to come through and see, and then answer any questions they might have. Then we shifted into getting ready for the 24-25 school year. So I wanted to give them our syllabus template in case some teachers that just happened to be surviving their first year just grabbed and stole someone else's and tweaked it and made it their own. But now they have the opportunity to take a new reflective look at their syllabus and just kind of update that, right? As well as a lesson plan template that we use for our mentor and supervisory observations and evaluations, and talked a little bit about instructional calendars, how to work, how to, you know, kind of massage it for the upcoming year, and if they had any questions on that. Then we went into highlighting one of our brand new teachers, a year one teacher, Mr. Pavon, and he did something really great in the classroom. And we wanted to highlight him. So we reached out to him and asked him if he would be a guest speaker, and he kindly said yes. And so it was great to hear from part of our new teacher staff on what worked for them really well in the classroom. Then we brought in human resources, and if any of our brand new teachers had any questions for human resources, as well as them sharing anything as far as the new schedule for classes that some of our teachers are taking. So they were given that as a resource too. They could take a class or two during the summer. Also, end of year grade reporting process. So I inserted about 3 or 4 slides for the system that we use, which is Aries, and just kind of how to pull the grades up. They only do it 2 times a year. So making sure that they had that there was hopefully going to take some more stress off their plate. Then we went into the 7th inning stretch, which was classroom management. We did a group activity. I could put them into groups, and then they worked on a specific scenario, like a classroom management, like a nightmare scenario, and they had to kind of work through it and then share out with each other like what they would do. And some of them have said, I've had this happen to me and this is what I did. So it was great to get their feedback. Again, kind of putting my thumb on the gauge of where are they? Do they feel comfortable? Do they still need some help? Is there certain areas where they stumbled and felt like we really don't know what to do in this scenario? So that really was helpful for me. Then we ended it with just questions, if anybody had questions, and then we ended the meeting. So it was really successful. I think it was really nice having them in person. Zoom is nice because I know they enjoy that ability to be able to log in from home, but it was nice pulling them in at the end of the year and really getting to see everyone in person. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You, Maria, way to bring it home. I like the things that you say, like that provide modeling examples, like just them in small groups, but them also presenting, or bringing in that first year teacher that had success with things and being able to share their experience. And I know that had to do with interviewing and job interviews. And y'all can see we all like a theme.
For sure.
I should say, going on right now in one of our other buildings is our teacher induction program. It's their graduation. So our last end of the year meeting, like Maria's talking about, theirs is happening today, started 10 minutes ago. So busy time of year. Thanks again, Maria.
Welcome. Thank you.
Melissa, I'm going to throw it to you about a little bit about TIP.
All right. Thanks, David. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you, Maria. That was great. You hit a home run in our little band here. So we're like mixing themes all of a sudden, confused. So with TIP, I had the honor of running our TIP program for several years. And Elena Hernandez is over there right now with our mentors, who some of you remember from CTE Teach as well. So these topics are some things that we've kind of covered and blended together a bit too over the years with our teacher induction program on their last TIP meeting of the year. And like David said, we make a big deal about the graduation. So for those of you not as familiar, you may be new to CTE Teach or to the ROP world, because a lot of us do kind of our induction or our new teacher institutes really similarly, is we put our first and second year teachers through an intensive program where they do meet regularly, hopefully monthly. Many of us do that monthly, as well as summer boot camps and things to really kind of just flood our teachers with all the information and the tools that they're going to need, and tons of support and mentorship and coaching, because most CTE teachers don't go through the traditional ranks to become a teacher. So in those 2 years, they're going to do lots of great things that you're going to see some examples of in the resources and that we've talked about a lot this year. But for the last one, again, we make a big deal about the graduation and all the things they've accomplished, not just in TIP, but especially in that classroom, learning to be a teacher and working with, kind of squirrely teenagers and in that content that they know so well as industry professionals. So sometimes we've done the TIP toast, where we raise a glass of apple cider, be clear, apple cider only. But we get the cute little champagne glasses from the dollar store, and we have them all toast to something that they're proud of or to someone that has helped them make it through their first 2 years. We've also done little things like yearbook or grad speeches, where we have them talk about their accomplishments and their hopes for the future and their hopes for one another as kind of in their teacher cohorts. Be cool, stay in school, and all those fun things, right? Teacher retention is important. We also, again, back to the theme for today, share your greatest hits. So in the 2 hours, we still make the graduation TIP still 2 hours long. So we have some time for them to share some best practices over the year, like Maria talked about, some of their best lessons and projects, and kind of a great little pair share. So they can also take something away with them to maybe work on and tweak for themselves over the summer. And then again, okay, this year we're through, now kind of what's next, and share how they're going to ensure that next year really rocks. Chiefs. And again, as David said, as we speak, our teacher induction program is having their last session, and this is one of the things they're sharing with the teachers this year. And I thought it was a great little infographic. If they didn't steal it from someone, I'm sure they used Canva to make this little gem, and it just got really neat things. Some of them may not apply to your organization. Again, those of you not familiar with the ROP model, we have teachers in multiple districts, so lots and lots of different school sites that have to come together at the end of the year and kind of come home to our ROP central office to do some of that checkout. So they've kind of got, almost 2 separate ways to check out of the school year. So some of these things may apply to their actual classroom side, and some may apply to the different things we might need them to do as a CTE program, like their pathway certificate of completion, acknowledging certifications for students, packing up those shops and labs and things so that the custodians can come do their thing over the summer, all of those good things that need to happen so they can start the new year fresh. So I thought this was a great thing for you to share, or to share with you guys today. All right, this year's over. Let's already start talking next year. David?
So another chance for you to answer in the chat. And thank you, Maria, for coming up with this question in your presentation. What advice would you give a new teacher who's starting next year, or new teachers? What's that bit of advice or bits of advice to give them? Sid says, be consistent. Good point. Become besties with the custodian and the head secretary. Yes, Patrick, spend time and energy with personalization. Yeah, I think I found I was busier in the beginning of the year personalizing responses and things like that, so that students could see that I was paying attention. Tom, lean on your coworkers and the resources at hand. Yes, yes, yes. Lean on your coworkers. Keep it simple. Be your authentic self. Yes, because students will see through something. Justin said, learn how to make a presentation. And Lupe, embrace technology. You're right. Ashley, watch out for the quiet ones. They're the ones that might need the most help. Maria, leave it in the classroom at the end of the day. James, be open to learning something new or updated. Jennifer, yes, self-care is important. You need to put your oxygen mask on before you can help others. Love it. Melissa, yes, document your lessons, save student samples of work so you don't forget for next year, so you can show them to students next year. Gems, you guys are putting gems in here. And Lupus says, and keep it organized. Absolutely. James, go ahead and take us to the next slide. And Melissa's going to talk about things for back to school, teacher onboarding, all good things.
So we all know in education, we have to beg, borrow, and steal, and we should never have to kind of invent the wheel all on our own, right? So some things that we've learned over the years with onboarding teachers, especially again, because we're not on the same side as our teachers. They're kind of all over the place and we can't be with them, you know, not even all day the first day of school, let alone, you know, checking in daily like we would want to, or if we were an assistant principal or something on a school site. So we have a pretty strenuous onboarding process. So this is our example. Again, feel free to you don't even have to beg, you get to steal it right from us today. So this is just a simple Google sheet, and we broke it down, and we have this for our support teams that are on our campus staffs too, or campus sites as well. So if you see here in the columns, for instance, HR, what does HR have to do to that for that teacher? And that's really where they start, right? They've got to go through the employee handbook and learn about the org chart and get their calendars, their offers of employment. Learn how to enter absences and things like that, because you know if you don't tell them, there's going to be something pops up in that first week or two of school. So what are our sub procedures? They also need to do all their mandated reportings and any other organizational reporting or trainings that they need to do. We also have some of our just CRY-ROP or Colton-Redlads-Yucaipa ROP standard trainings we do for people. We let them know a little bit about CRY-ROP, who we are, where we're from, who we serve, why we do what we do. And then we also have what we call the ABCs of CTE, which is really a CTE 101 about what makes CTE different and special and work within the K-12 education system, and also adults for our adult teachers. So those are kind of done from the main site type staff. And then we have program managers over our groups of teachers. So they go over the things you see in column 2 with the help of their administrative assistant. So again, they're going to talk with the teachers about the website and where to find resources there. They're going to talk to them about what their visits will look like and what they expect, their classroom expectations. Their admin assistants will talk about things like, you know, what if I need to buy something, or what if something breaks, or how much money do I get to spend? What's my copy code? Things like that. And then they go through, again, those back to school processes. They're not going to get everything they need to know, of course, by the end of the year, but they're going to get some highlights of things. So as they start to see emails come through or things on calendars, that they're going to know what an evening of excellence is and our student showcase. They're going to at least know that something is called articulation or dual enrollment. They're going to know that they have to make sure there's calendars open for back to school nights and what the processes are for guest speakers and what's a CTSO, right? Starting those acronyms out that we have in the CTE world on top of the education speak we have on their campus. So once we get them over to their campus, they get bell schedules, they get a big tour of the campus. Where do you park? Where are my keys? Where's my mailbox? They meet their career readiness specialists and see where the career center is, because that's a little hub for CTE on our campuses. And they'll also out through the campus learn, you know, what if a disaster happens? What's the site handbook? What are the school rules? And they'll meet some of their counterparts, both ROP and the district folks on their campuses, like the principal, secretary, and head custodian, which were my best friends on my campus as well when I taught. We also connect them with our what we call our ICT or IT department, so that they can learn all the ins and outs of their computer, their email. And again, our teachers have an ROP and a district email. They learn about the software that they have available to them, both that general software and the industry specific, any special training trainings they need, like cybersecurity, training on their smart boards, training on if they have any kind of those computer management systems for their classrooms and things. Our IT department helps them set up their Google Classroom, and we reinforce that through our teacher boot camps. They learn about the different things they can check out to help enhance instruction in their classroom, including a laptop for themselves. And then we hand them over to our mentor team with our teacher induction program. And then again, that's usually a 2 to 3 day boot camp for us before school starts every year. So here's some other things that we do to set our new teachers up for success. Not only do we surround them with support, but we surround them with gifts when they start with us. So they get a little teacher toolbox with all the supplies that a teacher would need, right? It's just not the kids that raid the school supply section at Walmart when school starts. We get it too for our new teachers. So they're not going out and spending their own money on those things that they'll need. We also provide them with at least one teacher textbook, as we like to call it, and you'll see that one on the next screen. We also have what we call in our organization our teacher binder. For us, it's a digital item that we just use a Google site that has all the ins and outs of where to find those work orders and where to find a lesson plan template and where's some emergency lesson plans if they need help or if they have subs that they need to prepare for. It's got all kinds of things like the who's who and the what's what of our organization and being a CTE teacher. We started it during the pandemic and it hasn't gotten so much love lately. So if you do click on that little binder there and you'll see it, there's some good stuff. There may be some outdated stuff too, but we're actually going to work on updating that here at CRY-ROP over the summer and early fall. We also, again, surround them with mentors. We do industry specific if we can, or we at least connect them with the industry like teachers in our organization. And then they are paired directly with a veteran teacher to be their mentor for the 2 years they're in our induction program. Next slide is again a resource for you. This is what we've put typically in our little teacher toolbox. So there's specific names because this came from our Amazon shopping list one summer. But you can see the things that we give the teachers, just some of the real basic things, and then maybe some fun things so that they can get started. One of those is a little notebook so they can do some journaling and reflection. And there's sometimes during our teacher induction meetings, they'll have the teachers share on some of their reflections and things. And this book here is the book that we give our teachers. It's on its 4th edition now, unless they've had a 5th since we ordered them for next summer. But this is the first year teacher survival guide, got tons of good ins and outs of being a teacher, the challenges and all the things to get ready for those kiddos. So that's something we give them during our teacher boot camp. And then here's a very, very abbreviated version of what our 2 to 3 day boot camp may look like. All those important things that they need to learn, and we're just going to kind of make them drink through a fire hose for 2 or 3 days. 2 or 3 days depends on sometimes the number of new teachers we have, and sometimes it's budgets and school schedules and things, because again, when you're working with 3 districts, finding days where you can get people to come in and work together without ruining too much of their end of their summer can be pretty difficult. So this current school year, we did 2 days. We're going to do 3 days moving into next year. We bring our brand spanking new teachers in for the day 1, so they get some extra attention. And then for those days 2 and or 3, we bring the 2nd year teachers in to meet the team. So we do all kinds of things like getting to know all of the important people they need to learn about for our ROP. They get a tour of our little campus, our CTE 101, all of the policies and procedures and things that you want to make sure you cover, like student boundaries and what a teacher should wear in your organization, how to do a work order, what happens when you need to buy something or something breaks, all of that good stuff. And then the preparing for the first week. So you can see examples there, like we help them set up their syllabus, classroom management. We talk a lot about that. There's initial relationship building. So like we've done in our webinars here, we try to model things that with the teachers that they can then do with their students. So in our boot camps, we do tons of icebreakers, getting to know one another, and then letting them take those tools away to their classrooms to use with students as well. Getting ready to teach, making sure they understand what their course outline is and how to maybe do their lessons pacing for the year, how to write a lesson plan. We help them set up their Google Classroom. We start talking just a little bit in the beginning about assessment, like checking for understanding and those fun little thumbs up, thumbs down Kahoot games and things that they can start doing with students at the beginning of the year before we might see them again for their next workshop. We also talk about things like the classroom, the shop safety, especially if we have a lot of shop teachers that year. We also make sure they know where to find the answers, whether it's through our teacher binder, their mentors, their subject like peers, or any great lesson plan sites and resources that we have. And we also spend some time doing self or wellness and self-reflection in our teacher induction program. We've been really fortunate the past few years to have one of our mental health teachers as one of our mentors, and she does a calm exercise or a little mental health wellness check with our teachers every time they come in for one of our meetings. And we know a lot of them have taken that mindfulness practice into their personal lives and even into their classroom. So we've been really excited to have her as one of our mentors lately. So here, this is in the resources too, so we're not going to spend much time, but this is basically the layout for our teacher induction boot camp that we did this year. So you'll see this first slide is day one with our brand new teachers, and it starts 7:30 with breakfast and goes all the way until 3 o'clock each day, filled with lots of chunking of content, lots of breaks, lots of snacks, lots of good conversation, lots of meeting all kinds of people, so that they're ready for their first time in the classroom. And then the next slide, James, is the year two when those veterans, right? That second year veteran comes back in and they get to meet the group. And again, we just kind of continue with the things that they need to know. Still lots of icebreakers, relationship building, having the second year teachers share their experiences and things as well. All right, David, I think it's back to you.
You are correct. Thank you very much, Melissa. So covered a lot of this on the slide, but let me talk about the building a community, building that classroom community section there. So the second bullet there, students and teachers introduce themselves by creating personal slides. That's a good thing to introduce yourself to your students, a new teacher to introduce themselves to students, but also the students to introduce themselves to people in the class. One thing we've done for the last couple of years, creating a class code of conduct together, and each period will do this. Now, I know there could be things going on in districts or school sites where they may have prescribed lessons for the first day, the first few days, the first week, and you'll have to work around those as well. But those are important to share if the school's doing something or the district's doing something, and you can fit these in too. Introducing students to the resources. Are you doing a tour of your classroom? Does your classroom look like a career technical education classroom? Is there equipment that you can show and share with students to let them know what they'll be working on as the year goes on? And then we at CTE Teach, that last bullet, we strongly believe in mentoring and providing support. So connect with colleagues and mentors, find the support system, build the support system. If it's not assigned, utilize those folks. This is in the first days of school section, but it could be in any day of school section, just keeping people engaged. So a little short list of icebreakers on the left-hand side of the page, and on the right-hand side, activities to engage students. This all links to one article, and it is that red underline. It's a clickable link right there. Over on the icebreakers on the left, I think it's interesting. Icebreakers to start. My first day in the classroom, the teacher I was taking over for, she did the human knot at the end of class to fill some time. They were done a little bit early, but if you imagine there were students who locked hands prior to COVID, obviously, locked hands, twisted, and then they were trying to get themselves out of that human knot that they had created. Some of these we've covered today as we've been going, and there's others that you do as well, but just anything to keep it interesting and exciting for students and to keep them active and involved on the right-hand side. James, next slide. So we've got 2 pages of resources here today. The orange is a clickable link. There are CTE lessons right away at the very top from the San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools. They have put together great work-based learning lessons and also things industry specific. If you have not checked it out, I strongly encourage you to do so. We've got our agenda template from TIP. I had the little story from Larry, and there is a link to his educational blogs and articles, and it just keeps going. There are guides to AI prompts because that is ever changing by the day. Microsoft Designer as well here. More Ed Tech from TCEA. Melissa talked about books for teachers and teaching books. There are 14 essential reads for new teachers here. Melissa referred to the CRY-ROP teacher binder, and that is right here. Couple great videos from that you can find on YouTube. Every Kid Needs a Champion, a TED Talk by Rita Pearson. I can watch it quarterly. And one of Melissa's favorites, Leading with Lollipops, a TED Talk by Drew Dudley. There are also a couple of our older webinars or presentations. There is a CRY-ROP tip workshop on engagement strategies, and then also high quality CTE.
So I'm going to just give a little more content on that that high quality CTE link. It's actually just a Google Doc. And with that document, and one thing we've been switching off and on between the teaching standards and the high quality indicators for college and career. So this one's a link to the high quality, and it's actually pretty simple. And just like in the classroom where we like our students to kind of become the teachers, because we all know we learn best when we have to teach it to others. We do that on our induction program too, as part of our monthly workshops. So for this example, it just breaks down the 12 elements of high quality CTE. Depending on how many new teachers you have in your program, you can break them up into pairs, or maybe smaller, maybe bigger. And you have them each month kind of take on a couple of those high quality indicators and have them express what they think they mean to them and what they mean to our organization or their school site or their industry sectors and things. And again, they teach the teachers. A fun thing that they did to not just say go teach, about building partnerships or leadership at all levels or things, some of those indicators, but they spun a wheel. You can either do one digitally through an app, or we actually have the little wheel in person, $40 on Amazon. You can do that, and it had teaching strategies. So they knew what they had the topic, but as far as the modality, they actually spun the wheel, and they picked the wheel picked 2 different modalities for them. So sometimes they were high tech, low tech, using handouts, not using handouts, making a video, making a podcast. There were all different ways that they were kind of forced into learning how to teach others, but maybe ways that they weren't always as familiar with or as comfortable with. So it's a great way, again, to kind of have the teachers teach themselves on some of the things that are really important for us here in CTE.
Okay, thank you, Melissa. So some important information for those of you who are currently taking or enrolled in our CTE Teach course modules. Every year, we did this last year and we're doing it again this year. On June 30th, we're going to reset our Canvas portal. So with that, everything will be lost. So this way, we're trying to set up everything for the next school year. So if you're currently enrolled in these online courses, you have until June 30th to complete them and to download or print your CTE Teach course certificates. So those of you that are working on your on either professional development or credentialing, you want to go ahead and complete those, because once everything is reset after June 30th, we will not have access to your old information as far as your course progress or your course certificates or even your account information. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me or David, and we'll be glad to help you. But you have until June 30th. And then we will be shutting down new enrollments on June 24th, so that week of. So again, if you have any questions, please let us know. There are some people that have enrolled but are probably either taking their time or they enrolled and never came back to it. So now is the time to go ahead and do that. There will be an announcement as soon as this meeting is over in Canvas portal to let those people know to go ahead and complete that, and they'll get the same messaging as well. David, anything else you want to add? Melissa? Okay.
No, James, thank you.
All right. And then once again, we're on social media. So follow us. like us, be our friend. So Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We also have our YouTube page, our SoundCloud, our Spotify, and our Apple Podcast pages. So if there's any old webinars or podcasts, especially from years back with interviews and lots of good information and resources, they'll always be there for you. You can always check it out. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And with that, we have what we call our inspirational or mentor Mondays. And with this one is a old one from Kobe Bryant. May we inspire others to be great in what they do. And that's what we're trying to do with our students. We want to inspire the next group of not just teachers and mentors, but students as well, and get them to be the professionals out there that's going to basically take over the world so we can retire and they can take care of us. So with that, David.
Teachers, I'm excited for you if you're taking the summer off. So little context here. My first year in the classroom, I ended in 2015. And 2 doors away and had been a help to me was a teacher, Donna. She's still on that school site. And my program manager's name was Donna. So day ends, I do my little Toyota jump here. And I send the text to Donna, 2 doors down. Or so I thought I did. I actually sent it to my program manager. So first year teacher, mortified that I've sent that to my program manager. But it started a tradition. So the 5 years I was in the classroom, Donna was kind of always waiting. Donna, program manager, was waiting for the last days of summer. And I think sometimes I did it with schools out for summer. James, I got 2 slides to close us out here. Number 1, we will stay on the line if there are questions, and our contact information. And James, last slide, probably the most important. Here is the link. The QR code will take you to the presentation. The bit.ly at the bottom is the link to today's slide deck. We will send those out this week. We've got your information from being here today, and we will send those out. And we'll also send you a video recording of today's webinar. That's it for today. If there's questions, please feel free to stay on the line. If not, have a great rest of May. If it goes into June, have a good June. Have a good summer. And we thank you for being here.
Happy summer, guys.